Aloha, hombres. We are going to be talking about chord inversions for this week's songs. Now this week we're going to be playing in the key of D, so I'm trying to get a good position so you can see that. Right, your D chord. So Desert Songs chords will actually start on a B minor, A, D. So B minor, A, G, D. Right? And that's good, but we don't need two guitars playing in that position. So one person needs to play up top, and I could send out videos on the lead lines of the songs, but really it's good to learn how to do this because there won't always be time to learn a whole lead line. Sometimes you just have to make it up, and so we need to play in a different spot so that we're not taking up the same sonic space. Excuse me. So that instead, there's an inversion you can play. So if you're playing your power chords, that's a D power chord, right? It also can be played down here. It's just your it's three notes. It's the root note, which is the 1, the 5th note of the D scale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then another root note, which is the octave. Right? There's that. But even if we play here, you'll notice that that chord and your cowboy chord, they take up the same sonic space still, because you might be playing up higher, but you're playing the thicker strings. So instead, we're going to play up here, which is this thing. It's the same chord, but now we're just playing the 1, the 5, and the octave root note on your 12th fret D string, 14th fret G string, 15th fret B string. And that's a D chord. Now this works for every song so long as you know how to find your root note. So if you can find the root note on the E string, there's my D, right? There's the octave. And then you can find this chord. And it's just that easy. And this, I said, it works in any scale. So if I want to do this in the key of A, I just move down. There's my A root note. There's the octave. And there's this higher voiced chord. So if I'm playing cowboy chords in A, I can come up here instead and play those same chords, but not take up the same sonic space. So we're going to be in the key of D though this week, right? So that's up here. And so now we need to find our other shapes. The other beauty of this is that using different types of inversions, we can get all of our chord shapes without moving outside of these 4 frets, starting on from the 12th to the 15th fret. Excuse me, the 16th fret, 12, 13, 14. Oh, no, I had it right, the 15th. 4 frets. So there's your D. And that's the 1 chord. When people talk about numbers instead of chord names, they're talking about the Nashville number system, which basically, so we'll use the key of the D, as I alluded to this earlier, the key of D as an example. The number refers to the note in the scale. So your D major scale sounds like this. Oop. But really, for the number system, we don't even need all that. We just need... That's it. And the numbers refer to each note of the scale. So the 1 is always your root note. The 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then by the time you get to 8, you have repeated. 8 is technically back to 1 because there's only 8 notes in a major scale to go from root to its higher octave. Right? So our 1 chord is the D. The other chords you're going to need in most of our songs at church is 1, 6, 5, and 4. I didn't put that in. And they revolve in various orders. Most songs contain those 4 chords and only those 4 chords. So there's our 1 chord. The other chord we're going to need is G, which in the key of D, G is the fifth. It's the 5 chord, or the 5th note in the scale. I'm sorry, G is the 4th in the key of D. And that is achieved very simply. So you have your D chord, remove your ring finger, right? And with your index finger, you're going to bar the 12th fret on the D and G strings and keep your pinky right where it was. And that's a G chord, or an inversion of a G chord. So here's your D, here's your G. It's that simple. To do an A chord, this is another kind of inversion. Your A, if you know your root notes, your A is not too far. If I just take my index finger and move it up to the thicker string, the A string, the double dot is an octave, right? So that's an A. And so you can play an A suspended just by moving that. If you want to play the regular A, you just push your pinky back 1 fret, so it's 12, 14, 14. There's your A. And A is the 5th note in the key of D, so that's your 5 chord. The other chord you're going to need is your 6. And every time I've encountered, I don't know music theory, but every 6th chord I've encountered, the 6th chord is always minor, especially in worship. I've never seen it go any other way. Maybe it's possible, but in these scales, the 6th chord is always minor. And again, it's very simple. So if you go back to your D, this is easy. Oh my gosh, is it easy. Usually I take my middle finger here, and so the 6th note in the key of D, you should be able to figure that out, because if the 5th note is A, the 6th note is B, B minor. And so here's your A, right? And so now there's your B, and it's just that simple. There's B minor. Now it's important in this type of inversion, in these shapes that we're moving through here, these 4 shapes, when I'm utilizing my A string, I need to also mute this D string if I'm not pressing down on it. So I mute it with the back of my index finger. I just kind of just keep not pressing down on it, but I just have my finger touching it. So that note's really not ringing out. The benefit of playing in the key of D is that even if it does ring out, it's okay, because it's within the key, because it's an open D string, so you can play that the whole time and it won't make a difference. But the point of playing these types of inversions is so that we're not playing big chords, but playing smaller, tighter chords. Because the person who's playing down low, they're playing the big chords, they're filling in the space. The point of playing up high is to add another color to the rainbow, basically. So in Desert Song, as an example, the inversions are pretty simple. So Desert Song actually starts on the 6. It starts on B minor, then drops to the 5. It's actually a descending pattern, because then it goes down to the 4, which is your G chord, and then it goes to the 1, which is your D. So in Desert Song, it'll be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Right? And so that's one way to play inversions on songs like Desert Song. We'll also be playing Holy Spirit in the key of D, which has even fewer chords.